All right, today we are diving into two of the absolute powerhouses in any programmer's toolkit, divide and conquer and dynamic programming. And look, these aren't just some stuffy academic concepts. They're all about fundamentally changing how you look at complex problems so you can solve them in the smartest, most efficient way possible.
You know that feeling, right? Maybe you're putting together some furniture and you swear you measure the same board twice. Or you're planning a trip and you find yourself looking up the very same flight path you just checked 5 minutes ago. It's that nagging feeling of, I'm doing this again. Well, what if I told you computers do that same exact thing, just, trillions of times a second?
Yeah, seriously. Now just try to imagine that tiny little frustration, but scaled up to the level of a modern computer. While it's working on some huge task, a program can end up solving the exact same little subproblem, not once, not twice, but millions or even billions of times. We're talking about a colossal waste of energy and processing power.
So, what's the fix? How do we get our programs to, smarten up and stop all this pointless repetition? The answer isn't some single magic bullet. It's about choosing between two really clever strategies. So, let's break them down.
To really see this problem in action, we're going to use a classic example, an old friend, the Fibonacci sequence. You probably remember this one from math class, right? Each number is just the sum of the two that came before it. Simple. So let's just try to find the fifth number in the sequence.
The first step seems easy enough. To get the fifth Fibonacci number, or Fib5, all we need to do is find the fourth and the third, and then just add them together. See? We're breaking the problem down into smaller pieces.
Okay, so to get Fib4, we're going to need Fib3 and Fib2. But hang on a second. Wait a minute. Didn't we already need to calculate Fib3 for our main problem? Yep, there it is. We're literally about to do the exact same calculation twice. And that, right there, is the inefficiency we've been talking about. Plain as day.
So what's the most natural, most intuitive way to tackle this? Well, there's an approach called divide and conquer. I mean, the name itself sounds perfect for what we're doing, right? We're breaking things down. But for this specific kind of problem, it has a hidden and pretty critical flaw.
Divide and conquer is a super powerful strategy, and it's built on this really simple idea. You break a big problem into smaller pieces that are completely independent. And that's the key word right there. It assumes that solving one piece of the puzzle has absolutely no effect on solving another piece.
The process just sounds so elegant and clean, doesn't it? You divide the main challenge, you conquer the smaller pieces on their own, and then you just combine all the results at the end. For something like sorting a massive list of numbers, this is perfect. You can split the list in half, sort each half totally independently, and then just merge them back together. Easy. But with our Fibonacci problem, this whole no-strings-attached approach becomes its downfall. A divide and conquer algorithm has like zero memory. It's a goldfish. It'll go and calculate Fibonacci of 3, and then a moment later when it needs it again, it'll just start from scratch and calculate it all over again, completely clueless that it's just repeating itself.
And this is where our second strategy, dynamic programming, comes in with this profoundly elegant solution. It directly attacks this problem of repetition by introducing one simple but absolutely brilliant concept: memory.
The whole strategy is captured perfectly right here. Solve each little problem once and just store the result. I mean, think about it. What if the first time we solved for Fibonacci of 3, we just jotted down the answer on a little notepad? The next time we needed it, we could just look it up instead of doing all that work again. So this whole concept has a name: dynamic programming. It was actually developed by a brilliant mathematician named Richard Bellman way back in the 1950s. And it's a method designed specifically for problems with overlapping subproblems, the very issue we saw with Fibonacci. It is all about saving your answers for later. Okay, let's put these two titans in the ring, head to head. Now, while they both love to break down problems, the absolute fundamental difference between them is the nature of those smaller pieces they create. Are those pieces strangers that never meet, or are they relatives that just keep showing up at the family reunion? And this is it. This is the whole ballgame. With divide and conquer, the subproblems are totally distinct and separate. They are independent. But with dynamic programming, the subproblems are all interconnected and they overlap. The solution to one piece is needed for another, and you know you're going to need it again and again. This table really lays out the trade-offs so clearly. Just look at the key differences. Dynamic programming handles those overlapping subproblems by storing results. Now, this almost always makes it way faster, but it costs you something: memory. Divide and conquer, on the other hand, is really lean on memory because it doesn't store anything.
but it pays the price in time if it has to keep recalculating the same stuff.
So let's go a level deeper, shall we? Because dynamic programming itself isn't just one single method. It's an approach that you can actually implement in two main styles, two different flavors.
So on the one hand, you've got the top-down approach, which is often called memoization. Think of it like a detective. You start with the big mystery, fib of 5, and you work backwards, taking notes as you go. On the other hand, you've got the bottom-up approach, or tabulation. This is more like a builder. You start with the foundation, the smallest, easiest pieces, and you build the structure up, piece by piece, until it's done.
So memoization starts with that big question, what's Fibonacci of 5? It then recursively breaks that down. But here's the magic trick, it keeps that notepad. Every time it's about to solve something, it first checks its notes. Have I seen this one before? If the answer's already there, great, it just copies it. If not, it does the work, and then, this is the crucial part, it writes the new answer down in its notes for the future. It solves things on a need-to-know basis.
Tabulation, on the other hand, is like building with Legos. It doesn't start with the final big model. It starts with the simplest, tiniest pieces. It calculates Fibonacci of 0, then 1, then 2, and so on. It methodically fills up a table of answers, step by step. So by the time it finally needs to calculate Fibonacci of 5, the answers for 4 and 3 are already built and just sitting there. Wait.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing options. How in the world do you choose? Well, like with most things in programming, it always comes down to the structure of the problem you're trying to solve. It's about picking the right tool for the right job.
The choice really just boils down to one simple question. Do the subproblems overlap? If the answer is a clear no, if the pieces are totally independent, like in famous sorting algorithms like merge sort or quick sort, then divide and conquer is your best friend. But if the answer is yes, if you keep seeing the same subproblems popping up again and again, like in Fibonacci or the famous knapsack problem, then you absolutely need the smart memory of dynamic programming.
So if there is one single core idea to take away from all of this, let it be this. Don't waste your effort by solving the same puzzle twice. At its heart, dynamic programming is just the simple, incredibly powerful principle of remembering what you've already figured out.
And that leaves us with a final thought. This whole principle of remembering the answer, it isn't just some clever coding trick. It's the kind of thinking that turns problems that might otherwise take centuries to compute into ones we can solve in a fraction of a second. So think about it. What seemingly impossible problem, in coding or, heck, even in life, could you solve just by remembering what you already know? Thanks for tuning in.